Let me take a totally different example. Malcolm X. He was, I claim, following the same insight when he adopted X as his family name, Malcolm X. The point of choosing X and thereby signaling that the slave traders who brought the enslaved Africans from their homeland brutally deprived them of their ethnic roots and so on. X means we are deprived of our roots. The point with Malcolm X was not, as in that stupid TV series to make you feel good, liberal. It was very popular, Alexis Haley, or who was the author, Roots, you remember. Let's search for our roots and so on and so on. No, Malcolm X was well aware that this X signals, on the one hand, brutally being cut off, deprived from, but also the unique chance of freedom that this offers. He was fully aware of it. He was fully aware that every search for roots, like, ooh, let's go back or let's reconnect with our roots, is precisely what colonialists want. I claim that it's totally wrong to think that colonialism, or today's post-colonial neocolonialism, works as what some cultural critics call this cheap consumerist Americanization. You know, like the colonizers wanted all us to be the way they are. No, if there is something they are afraid, it's this. The first gesture of colonizers is always the message to local people, and usually it is formed in this hypocritically respectful way. You have a wonderful, authentic, wise way of life. It's much wiser than our vulgar, Western, materialist, imperialist culture. Just look, they are wonderful reading. British colonial administrators, their memoirs of India. They are full of this bullshit, you know, like I learned from an ordinary poor Indian peasant more wisdom than from all Western managers and so on and so on. And so I think that don't also forget something that I remember from my youth. South Africa, apartheid. You know, you should do something which not many people do. You should look a little bit into the official pro-apartheid literature. How did they justify apartheid? It was not blacks are inferior. No, of course it was hypocritical. But it's interesting what they said. They said something like, if we just introduce universal egalitarian democracy into South Africa, what will happen with all those Bushmen Hottentots with their unique culture? You know, they even like to evoke all this bullshit, you know, that when we, Boers or Englishmen, open up a mine, we just do it brutally. But when an African native mines into the earth or enters a mountain, he first asks the spirits of the mountain for permission and so on, all that bullshit and so on. What I'm saying is that the first step of really fighting colonialism is to, I'm even tempted to say, to treat them, the others, as ordinary, dirty, evil people as we are. You know, I think the most refined and disgusting form of colonialism today is that shitty, fake respect, which is, I claim, just inverted racism, you know, in the sense of, like, celebrating Native Americans here, you know, like, oh my God, again, the same bullshit, you know. They speak with the spirit of a mountain, they know that nature is their mother, they don't just exploit her and so on. I totally understand some of my Native American, Indian, I call them because they prefer this name, you must know my standing joke, you know. All my Native American friends hate the term Native American. They say, if we are native, you are cultural, or what, you know. And they gave me an excellent argument to use the term Indian. They said, in this way, our name is at least a tribute to white man's stupidity, you know. They thought they are in India and so on, you know. No, but, you know, one of them told me, I can prove you through historical writings that we did much more, we ruined much more nature than we killed more buffaloes than one people. We burned more forests and so on. But I understood them. They hate this patronizing, respectful attitude. So again, today more than ever, I claim, this is important. That, of course, to see how, although colonialism was an extremely traumatic, brutal wound, something which was undescribably brutal, but the solution is not to return back, but precisely to see this deprivation, being deprived of ethnic roots and so on, as a unique chance of freedom, of opening. And among others, for example, as you probably know, in South Africa, that was the whole policy of African National Congress. The one who was for identity politics, blacks should return to their own culture, was King Buthelezi, who was on the payroll of the white regime, of course. No?